I'm going to go back to the stock ones right now. They're a little bit smaller. I've never had this problem before. And it's not the guides. Koso guides are perfect. It's just there's probably a little bit of casting problems on the ramp plate itself. Okay, now the weights are in, and you've got to hold it like this. Excuse me, like this. And we're going to put it on up here like this. But before I do that, this pulley boss has got to go in. And this is a really good way to get your hands, damn it, shit. And you got to hold it all together, or else it can come loose. And when it comes loose, you just got to pull it back out and start all over again. Come on, get on there. See where my fingers are stuck? So then I go around here, and I'll do the same thing. And you just kind of got to make the whole unit get on here the way you want it, right there. And then we're going to take the belt, and with it, this is a stock belt. Now I know I've showed you Kevlar belts, I've shown you heavy duty belts. This is a heavy duty belt right here. It even could be a Kevlar belt. The thing that I'm trying to do is I'm trying to isolate the engine when I do the first startup. I know how the bike should run with the gears, with everything stock, except for the new cylinder. So if I go and change and make all these variable changes while I'm doing my starting tune-up and everything, I'm not sure, is it the clutch that's it's not working quite right? Is it the new spring? Is it the Kevlar belt that's not stretching far enough? Is it, you know, some other variable? And if I use my stock setup right here, then if the engine doesn't quite work right, then I can look at it and say to myself, okay, it's the carburetor, or it's something like that. Come on, get on there, damn it. Shit. And this is the way you want a belt to go on. You want it to go on to where you got to take two hands, and the best way to do it is to take the belt and start it up here on the edge of the pulley boss and push it as you're turning. Okay? If you have a belt that will go over this pulley boss and onto this rear pulley, just by looking at it, or just by putting it on, your belt is stretched too far. Now another thing I like to do is, we're going to put the belt on now. I like to stretch the belt out a little bit from the back here, and I'll show you why. I've got this all on, the clutch unit back all on. Now we're going to put on the clutch bell here. And I'm going to hand tighten this nut, just so it's on here. Now I'm not going to put it on very tight, because I need to show how all this is done. Then what I like to do is, if you'll notice right here, I don't know, I want to see if you can see this, but the belt should ride right on the edge here of the pulley boss. What it means is it cannot stick out this way. If it does, then the drive face won't sit in here correctly, okay? Because the belt is just a little bit too close to the pulley boss. And the way I like to stretch the belt out is I like to take what I'll do is I'll take a pair of pliers and I'll pull down just a little bit with both of these. Okay. And what that does is it will, you heard that noise, it separates this pulley just a tiny bit and makes the belt stretch. When the belt stretches, then when I go to put this on, I know that I'm going to get a good metal to metal contact between the drive face and the variator back here. Then I put on my washer, and this nut right here, I'm thinking about getting another grade 8 nut, and I want to get a Castle type of a nut. This is a Castle style right here, and I'll use blue Loctite on the back, and I'll definitely use red Loctite thread locker on the front. Red requires, as you can see, that this nut right here is hot, or I mean it's been deformed a little bit by heat. If I don't use the red thread locker, I'm going to be out driving somewhere 2 miles from home. I'm going to be doing 60, 70 miles an hour, and all of a sudden the motor's going to go "Rrrr." That's because the belt has backed this off and loosened this up. And I've had it happen so many times. Okay, so there you go. That's a completed pulley drive unit for the little DIO, or Honda Elite in America as they call it, SR50 engine. And if you want to know what the block number is, this is the block number. It is an AF16E. Now I know that I believe it's an 18, but I don't know if that designation is for a European block, and if they're different, I don't know. This is an American block. Then what I'll do is I'll use red thread locker. I'll tighten this up. I will use blue thread locker, thread glue, but made by Loctite, and this will be done as far as being done. Now the reason I keep everything clean, like I said, if there is an oil leak, or if there is a major some kind of damage, I will be able to see this when I break it down, and I'll say to myself, everything was clean, there's no oil, there's no leaks, there's no nothing. Okay, something's leaking, something's broke. Now all I have to do is put on the covers. I do have a very large electric starter, but it just doesn't have the torque for this size engine. It just doesn't. Our next thing that we're gonna work on is the CT intake. That's why it's called the CT. It's because that's what it's called. And the CT intake will fit right up here. Now this CT intake looks stock, but it is further from stock than you can believe. It's a number of years old. We're going to tear it apart, clean it up. This has got custom Boyson reeds in it. These are the reeds, this little yellow material. That's where Boyson makes their money. It's not in some fancy reed cages. This is what's called a reed, well actually this is a reed cage holder. The reed cage is right here, this piece of plastic. And I'm going to show you how to modify it and how to make it work on the next videos. And I'm very, very close to 60 years old, so I'm celebrating, as you can tell. I'm celebrating the fact that I'm 1 year older to 100 years old, and I'm not young anymore. Anyway, happy birthday to me. I hope you like the engine so far. Thank you.